going to press record. It is Monday, March 2nd, the first Monday of a new month, you guys, which means that you have a new opportunity, a fresh start to, maybe make this month better than last month. I don't know if you guys crushed last month or maybe you struggled last month. Doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do about last month, right? There's nothing that you can change about last month, but there is something you can do about this month. There's something you can do about today, and tomorrow and the next day, right? So I want to encourage you guys to not get discouraged if you fell off track over in February. Maybe you haven't even started yet. Your box of Shakeology has been sitting there staring at you and you've just been putting it off, right? I want to encourage you guys to make sure you lean into our boot camp. Make sure you lean into your coach and ask for help if you need the help, you guys. That's what we're here for, okay? Just a few announcements before we get going with today's topic. We did open up our March boot camp. Today kicks off like the official first day. So make sure if you were meant to be added to that, that you check your email, your spam and your trash folders, especially because sometimes those emails get pushed to that folder. And I see we've invited like 100 and something people to it and only 60 something people have accepted the invite. So it just makes me think that you guys haven't seen your invites or you haven't accepted it yet. So you've got to accept it in order for you to see the daily posts. In terms of that too, you guys, participate in those daily posts that your coaches are putting in there, because that is to help you, right? We don't just like throw that in there just to throw it in there. We're really trying to provide you guys content that's going to help you. And so we want to make sure that you are, engaging on those things, participating in any type of little fun challenge we have, because it makes it more fun when you are doing it together, when you're doing the fun little challenges, water challenges, that kind of thing. It really, really does help you get more involved, which helps you stay accountable to your goals. So if you have not been added to that and you're supposed to be, reach out to your coach. But first, check your spam just to make sure that they didn't already invite you. I had a few girls yesterday be like, add me. And I'm like, I already did. So make sure that you check that. So I asked last month what you guys have been struggling with most, and unanimously it's been nutrition. And so I really want to take this month to like hone in on nutrition, you guys, because I know that that's the struggle for most people. But it doesn't have to be. Our programs are so simple when it comes to nutrition, and it's all laid out for you. And so I want to really take the next few coffee chats to like talk about a specific part of nutrition. Okay. So today is all about how I meal plan, because I think that planning is a huge part of success. Yes, it's obviously important to prep your food as well, but like you can't start anywhere unless you make a plan, unless you have a game plan for your nutrition. So today is all about meal planning, and how I meal plan, and some of my top tips for you guys. And you guys, I want to preface this with saying, like, you have to find what works for you when it comes to meal planning. Okay. What works for me might not work for you. And it's taken me a few years to like get my meal planning down. But once you figure out like really how this works for you, you can take some of these tips and kind of incorporate them into your meal planning. Once you figure that out, it's like it just becomes like a habit. Okay. So first and foremost, every week, you guys, I sit down and I write out my meal plan. I'm actually going to share my screen. If you're driving, you do not have to look at my screen. Okay. You can, I will actually share my meal plan in the Florida Fit community so that you guys can see it. And you guys can even make a copy of it and then edit it yourselves. But I sit down and I write out my meal plan. Now I follow the container system. I follow the Ultimate Portion Fix containers. Okay. If you have the Ultimate Portion Fix or To Be Mindset, which is our two nutrition courses, I would recommend that you obviously like either pull out the books, or if you got the digital version, you print up the materials. If you don't have either one of those, if you just bought a regular challenge pack and you don't have our nutrition courses, you can always go into the program materials tab underneath whichever program you're doing. So if you're doing bar, if you go into the program materials tab, there is a bar nutrition meal plan that you can print. If you bought the bar challenge pack, you will get that like printed already, but you can print that up. I personally need structure when it comes to my nutrition. Like I just need, I'm not really good at um like counting calories and all that stuff. It just, that's too much for me. So I like structure, but I like it to be simple, and the Ultimate Portion Fix just is simple for me, because it lays out exactly, what is approved, and lays out every single like food group. I'm not cutting food groups, that kind of thing. So I have my list of food here. So I sit down every week with my Ultimate Portion Fix book, and I plan out my week. And so I'm going to screen share with you guys. Again, if you're driving, you don't have to watch my screen. I just wanted to show kind of how I set it up. So this week looks a little different because me and Tyler are actually starting the 3-day refresh today. But I planned that out, and I like literally broke down what we're going to be eating with the 3-day refresh. And then you can see, like, obviously that's not color coded because that's just the 3-day refresh. Like it literally lays that out in the 3-day refresh kit, which is our 3-day cleanse. And so it literally tells you like what to eat. So I laid it out. I picked my veggies that I wanted to eat. I picked my fruit. I picked all of that, and I just laid that out for the first 3 days. Okay. And then the next few days, or after the 3-day refresh, we're doing carb cycling with the Shift Shop meal plan. We're not doing the Shift Shop workouts, but we're doing the Shift Shop meal plan because me and him, we're both going to Punta Cana towards the end of the month. And we really saw awesome results last time we did this meal plan. And so we're doing the Shift Shop meal plan, carb cycling. And so what I do is I actually screenshot the containers. So I'm in plan A, he's in plan B. And then I just put them, like I screenshot it, and then I put the image into this Excel spreadsheet on Google Drive. I use Google Drive because if for whatever reason my computer crashes, I have access to this always. And it's really easy to edit. So I have my containers here. So I'm going to go over my meal plan. I do have Tyler's like literally right next to mine, and his is a little different just because he is bigger than me, so he eats more calories than me. So you can see here, this is how the Shift Shop meal plan is designed. You basically, with carb cycling with this meal plan, you're not carb cycling every other day, you're carb cycling every week. So it's like you start out with more carbs, you lower that carb intake in week 2, and then in week 3, your carbs are higher with your vegetables than they are with like the starchy carbs. Okay. You guys, you've got to find what works for you. And this is not something that we do often. We don't carb cycle often. We usually just follow the regular meal plan. But this just so happened to be when I'm doing this calls when we're starting carb cycling. So I take it week by week. So I planned out this week. I haven't planned out obviously week 2 or week 3, but week 1, I have to have at least 3 vegetables. Okay. 3 servings of vegetables. So you can see this is my meal plan. I color code it because I'm a very visual person. So obviously a green container with the Ultimate Portion Fix is a vegetable. Okay. So I color code and I write down, I'm going to have salad for lunch. I'm going to have, carrots. I will mix and match carrots and my power greens for a snack. And then I'll have veggies, some type of veggies for dinner. I usually write out like exactly what we're eating. So like I'll write out Brussels sprouts or whatever. But I didn't buy a ton of stuff at the grocery yesterday because I didn't want it to go bad towards the end of the week. So I just really bought our like 3-day refresh stuff and then Thursday's meals. So you can do it this way. Obviously, if you're not doing the container system, if you're doing 2B mindset, it might look a little different for you. You can still color code it, but do it in a different way. If you're just following like the regular 21-day fixed meal plan or something, I mean, any of our programs, you can do this. Okay. The point is that I plan out like every single meal, because if I don't have a plan, you guys, I'm like, oh, I'll just wing it, right? I'll figure it out. So the way that I start this is I actually start with dinner first, like planning out my dinner, to figure out. And I'm the type of person, like, I can't eat the same thing every single night, but I can do like 2 nights a week. Like you see, I do like chicken sausage and quinoa and veggies like on Thursday and on Saturday. And then for dinner on Friday, we've got turkey burgers, veggies, and edamame. Right. So I've got those like spread out like just every other night. I also don't like cooking this like every single night. That's just me. If that's you and you want to cook something different every night, cool. I don't want to do that. So I do like a big batch of, one thing, and then we eat off of that every few days. And then, I'll make like 2 to 3 meals a week, but that's it in terms of dinner. So I start with planning out my dinners first. I also feel like a lot of people struggle with dinner. And it's just because like you go to work, you come home, you don't feel like cooking. So if you have this plan like set in place, it really is going to help you. So I start out with my dinners first, figuring out what I want to eat. You guys, there's a ton of recipes on the Beachbody blog, which you have access to through Beachbody On Demand. There's also recipes with Fixate. I actually have the printed versions of like the Fixate cookbook, which is based off the containers. And I love those recipes. I don't think I've ever made any of those recipes and been like, ugh, I don't like this, right? I'm actually making the burgers from Fixate. One of the recipes is I think like a Greek burger, turkey burger. I don't know what it is. Some burger I saw the other day, and I was like, okay, I'll use that recipe. So you don't have to spend hours upon hours like figuring out what you should eat. You have access to the Beachbody on a Beachbody blog on the Beachbody On Demand. You have access to Fixate. You also get recipes that we email to you if you're in our boot camp. We email them to you every week. I'm actually going to be sending out week one's meal plan today. And you get recipes every week literally sent to your inbox. So there's no excuse of like, well, I don't know what to eat. I literally sent it to you. So you have access to that. Plus, like I said, you've got access to all those other resources. So what I like to do is I like to sit down and I like to get him involved. Like, hey, what do you want for dinner this week? He usually says he doesn't care, but then he does care if I make the same things over and over again. So I let him pick. I let him look through the book, through the Fixate cooking book or cooking show. I don't really go on the cooking show because it's a lot of just options and it's a little bit overwhelming to me. So I just look through. That's why I got the printed versions of the book, of the cookbook, just because it's easy. But I'll let him help me decide on the different meals that we can make, right? You can get your kids involved if you have kids. Like, let them pick a few options that you can make. That way they'll eat it, right? Like, I see so many people are like, oh, my kids don't want to eat when I'm cooking. Well, get them involved, right? See what they want for dinner. So I start with dinner first, okay? And then I figure out how many, so for example, on Thursday, I have quinoa, chicken sausage, and vegetables, right? So that's a yellow, that's a red, that's a green. So then from there, I'm like, okay, minus, so I'm going to take out, I need 3 veggies for the day. So that checks off 1, right? And then I move on to the other meals. I then go to my breakfast because I do Shakeology every morning for my breakfast. So I love to add things to my shakes. And so I don't want to, I want to make sure I have enough containers to like be able to do that. So I've got my shake and I have half of a banana. Sometimes I'll add in spinach depending on what I'm planning out for the day or for the week. Sometimes I'll add in oatmeal, like dry oats, if I want to get in the carbs that way. Sometimes I add in yogurt if I'm wanting to get in that extra protein in there. It really just depends. I kept it really simple because I am like a very simple person. And with coming off the refresh and just we have a lot going on this weekend, I decided just keep it super simple. So I just did Shakeology and half of a banana. And that's like my go-to for my shakes. I just add water. Sometimes I add almond milk, but That's just depends on how I'm feeling. So I do it that way. And then I kind of decide what I want for my snacks and for lunches and that kind of thing. Again, I'm keeping it super simple, kind of doing the same thing when it comes to my salad. I mean, I'm going to change it up a little bit with the protein options. But you've just got to sit down and make your plan, you guys. So I start with dinner, plan that out, and then I, go through my breakfast, my lunches, and then my snacks. Okay. And then I do the same thing for Tyler. I actually create his meal plan. Again, I get him involved. So like his is a little bit different because he loves cucumbers, hummus, and turkey for lunch. He can literally eat that every day. That's mostly what he eats when he comes home for lunch. So like that's his meal plan. It's a little bit different than mine. I don't want turkey and hummus and cucumbers every day. Like I want a salad and I want to be able to like change things up on my salad to make it I don't like eating the same exact thing every single day. So if I change the type of salad, change my toppings on my salad, it makes me think that I'm eating something different. You can always too. This is something that I've done before too, is like if you cook on Monday night, you can eat leftovers for Tuesday's lunch if you're not wanting to, that like kind of saves you some time because then you're just meal prepping one meal for one option for 2 meals. So that's really how I meal plan, you guys. I just sit down and I write out my meal plan. And then from there, that's how I figure out my grocery list, right? So obviously, I said I have bananas on here. So like I obviously would have to buy bananas. So then I sit down and I look at my meal plan. I'm like, okay, need bananas. I check my pantry to see like what I have, what I need. And then I write down my grocery list from there. And I really don't deviate from my grocery list. Obviously, if you guys have kids or whatever and you have to add things to that grocery list, that's fine. But I really like if I go to the grocery store without a grocery list and without a plan, I'm a hot freaking mess and I end up buying Oreos and crap that I don't need. So I highly, highly, highly encourage you to sit down and make a meal plan. And yes, this is going to take time, especially in the beginning. Like y'all, I knocked this out in probably 20 minutes of me like looking through the Fix Day cookbook, trying to figure out what I wanted. Obviously, it's a little bit different with 3-day refresh because that's all planned for me, really. But just looking through that guide took a few seconds to figure out what we wanted to do for dinner, and then like figuring out what to eat for lunch. All that literally took me like less than 20 minutes to not just pick all that, but sit down and plan it out. So if you're sitting here saying, well, I don't have time to meal plan, again, I'm gonna call a little BS on that because everyone has time to sit down for 20 minutes and meal plan. Because I bet you that at some point yesterday you watched 20 minutes of TV, or you scrolled Instagram for 20 minutes. And I can tell you a lot of you do because I see you watching my stories. So if you have time to watch my stories, you have time to meal plan. Okay, just putting that out there. So that is what I do when it comes to meal planning. Next week, I'm going to talk a little bit more about actually prepping your food, and how I do that. But when it comes to meal planning, you guys, you just have to sit down and make that time to lay it out. I also get Tyler to print our meal plans and then I put them on the fridge. So like he knows what we're eating. I know what we're eating. Your kids can see what you're eating if you put it up there or what y'all are eating. If you have the Ultimate Portion Fix, or TV Mindset, they talk about meal planning and meal prepping. Autumn has some really, really good videos. So highly encourage you guys to go check, if you have it, to go check it out. She also has, for the Ultimate Portion Fix, she also has a like kid friendly or kid family friendly chart where your kids can actually help you chart your food and things like that and getting them involved, which I think is really important. Like I said, I know I've had a few people that are like, well, how do I make a meal plan? And I don't want to cook for multiple meals for multiple people, right? One other tip that I want to give you guys when it comes to sitting down and writing out your meal plan, especially with a family, and like maybe you have a picky husband, maybe you have picky kids, you don't have to necessarily make multiple meals, right? So if you are doing like, I don't know, taco night and your kid doesn't like whatever, if they don't like tacos, then you can make, maybe make some ground meat off to the side that's not mixed with the taco seasoning, and do like a side veggie for them, right? Or like I know Ashley does this, like she'll do, instead of taco shells for her, she'll do like, the little zucchini boats or like the lettuce wraps, and then she makes her husband Jake taco shells, right? Or if you want to do, you know what I mean? Like you could do like always like do a side for them. So when I was doing the reset, it was not a lot of meat. And so my husband was like, can you make me chicken sausage? Right. So I'd make him chicken sausage and then he would eat the vegetables or whatever that I was eating. I just made him like one extra thing. So you don't have to do like an entirely new different meal. Getting your kids involved, getting your husband, spouse, partner, whoever involved might be helpful because then they're helping you decide what to eat versus you being like, here, eat all these vegetables and eat all these things. And you guys, there's a ton, like I said, there's a ton of recipes on the Beachbody blog that are kid friendly that actually hide vegetables. So like, I know Ashley's done this too. She's hidden vegetables in certain meals and things like that to where they don't even notice, right? They don't even notice the changes that you've made. And if you make it a big deal, they're going to make it a big deal. So that's my suggestion when it comes to meal planning, especially with a family, with kids, with a spouse. And then two, this will save you money because you're not just going to the grocery store and aimlessly buying things and wasting food. When people tell me like, oh, eating healthy is so expensive. I'm like, no, it's not. Number one, you don't have to buy like all organic, everything organic, all the things organic, right? Like you can get vegetables and fruits and all those things at a decent price, you guys. What I spend on food is way less money than when I was spending on McDonald's or coffee at Starbucks or my Target runs where you walk into Target and you instantly spend $100 just for being in the store, right? Yes, it's an investment in your health. Like healthy food is an investment in your health, but it's not any more expensive, especially if you have a plan where you're not wasting food. Because that's the thing. A lot of people say it's expensive because they're spending money and then they're not eating it and then they're throwing it in the garbage and they're like, oh, well, it's expensive and it went to waste. Well, that's because you didn't have a plan on when you were going to eat it. And, the game plan on actually like not wasting your money with it, right? So if you have a plan and you have your grocery list from that plan, and then you don't deviate from the plan, you're gonna eat all the food that you bought, right? Because you planned for it, right? So for me, this week I bought 4 cucumbers because we need them for the reset. We also need them for, after the reset. So like I bought 4 cucumbers. We have half of a cucumber, for the next 3 days, each of us. So like we're gonna eat those cucumbers. They're not gonna go to waste. I'll be honest, last week was Monica. I did not make my meal plan. And guess what, you guys? We ended up throwing away. I was so aggravated yesterday because we ended up throwing away 2 cucumbers and a brand new bag of salad that like we hadn't even touched because we hadn't planned for anything last week. So I was so annoyed with myself because I was like, I just wasted this money and I just wasted this food. And it's because I didn't have a plan. So I print this out, every week. I've been trying to. Last week was different, but I already told Tyler today he has to print out our meal plans. I sat down yesterday. I made out our meal plans. I went to the grocery from that meal plan. I got everything we needed, and I feel like prepared and I feel ready to go. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you have any questions about meal planning, please ask us. Like that's what we're here for. If you're listening to the recording of this and you have questions about meal planning, maybe that I didn't cover, please feel free to ask. And then next week I'm gonna go over meal prepping. I do want to let you guys know that on, what is the date? On March 23rd, we're not going to have a coffee chat because a lot of us are going to be in Punta Cana for the Success Club trip, the Beachbody trip. So just wanted to make sure you guys knew that we're not going to have a coffee chat, but that's the only day in March that we are not doing a coffee chat. So I wanted to let you guys know about it. I'm going to stop the recording.